Hi muckers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing very well. Okay, today we're going to be talking about Rosanna Pansino and Mr. Beast because it is all just continuing to kick off, and I told you that I was going to be giving you updates before I get into this. So basically, Rosanna has posted this new video, which is called Mr. Beast is Gross, and then Beast Games. So I had posted my video on Rosanna, I think a day ago, and a lot of people in the comments are saying, and they were calling me out, because I said in it that while I'm very much so hearing everything Rosanna says, I'm supporting her, blah, 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 blah. I basically made a comment that was like, I wonder what her motive is with it. And a lot of people took that as if I was completely downplaying everything she was saying about Mr. Beast, which is not the case because, if anything, I was actually highlighting the fact that she was speaking about this new Beast Games. What I said particularly was in context to when Rosanna Pansino spoke about her experience with Mr. Beast, and that I felt like a lot of this was stemming from that. And by that, I just think that that story was, you know, the edit showing Rosanna coming in like 4th place rather than 3rd. And I think it got really blown up. And there were so many people in the comments that were like, the way you're speaking about Rosanna, could you imagine if people spoke about that with you, with Colleen? And I'm like, okay, but like Rosanna was saying that Mr. Beast in the edit made her come like 5th place instead of 4th, you know, like two very different things. And so I want to let you all know that Rosanna had reached out to me last year and said that she would love to talk about the Mr. Beast thing. And I never got back to her, but I did get back to her today. And I basically said, hey, clearly I am missing something of that story on your experience. And if you would want to talk to me about it, I would be very willing. The way that she wanted to speak about it, you know, like last year I said, hey, I know I'm delayed, but I will talk to you and hear more and see what's going on. But to give people a little bit of context, I'm not saying this to discredit Rosanna in any way, but what I am saying is Rosanna is known as someone who does not get involved in drama, doesn't talk about things, and I'm not saying this is drama, you know, this is Mr. Beast deserves to get called out, but I'm coming at this from the perspective of Rosanna Pansino has commented on my YouTube videos, responding to my audience, promoting her talking about drama, and even as much as Gabby Hanna, like I would make a video on Gabby Hanna and Rosanna's in my comment section responding to people being like, I'm going to talk about this on my podcast, just you wait. And I find it a little bit iffy that she, you know, everyone is coming at me for saying, why are you saying Rosanna's doing this for drama? Whenever my last acknowledgement of Rosanna was her in my comment section promoting that she was going to be talking about drama on her upcoming podcast and using it to promote her upcoming podcast. So I hope people know that I'm not trying to just come for Rosanna as a person. And whenever I say, I wonder what her morals are with this Mr. Beast thing, I'm not trying to discredit the Mr. Beast story, but what I am trying to do is acknowledge that, you know, is this another case of just ultimately promoting her segue into talking about drama on her podcast? I don't know. That was my opinion, and it still is my opinion of Rosanna. It's not me being catty, or, well, you can see it at that, but for me, it's not. It's just that I have seen all this unfold, and I'm sorry, but I am not going to sit here and not tell you my honest opinion on these things. I covered the story. I let her speak. I let her, you know, read out the emails that she had gotten from other people. I wasn't trying to discredit that in any way, but I'm not going to sit here and not give my opinion on what I genuinely think. And I know that a lot of people in my audience are in agreement with that with me. But that's why I ultimately responded back to Rosanna today. I know I did it a year later, or even a couple months later, whatever it was. But I'm willing to have that conversation with her and really get her point of view on Mr. Beast and kind of dive in there a little bit deeper. If she gets back, I know she picked up the message. I saw that she just read it. If she gets back to me, she gets back to me. If she doesn't, she doesn't. A lot of people were wanting me to hear her side of the story more than what I have already done. So I'm willing to, and that's that. So I just wanted to clarify that at the start of the video because there were a lot of people really confused by my stance, I guess, in that video. But today, what we're going to be doing is getting to her video that she has just posted on Mr. Beast. Please make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. I am uploading every day. I'm going to be here. Also, my P.O. box is open. I am sending little postcards to everyone who sends something to the P.O. box and sending a little letter back. But anyways, that's not why you're here. Why you're here is this Rosanna video. Okay, so Mr. Beast is gross. Beast Games, let's get to her video. And again, I want to clarify that it is important, and I have said that time and time again, whoever would be spreading this message about Mr. Beast, because what he's doing is very dangerous, and you already know that I'm not a fan of Mr. Beast, and I think that what he does is so unethical. I was just calling out things that I have thought about Rosanna. I'm just calling a spade a spade. Anyway, let's get to it.
A lot has happened over the last few days, and I wanted to update you. It is truly so much to cover in a single video, but it just definitely needs to be talked about. First of all, the fact that hardly any large YouTubers are talking about the Beast games is honestly pretty disappointing, although not too surprising. In general, I think basically all the top YouTubers are hoping this blows over so they can keep their...
Sorry, I don't know if there was some like weird white gloss over my lips, but I put on so much lip gloss that I just like did that and so much just came off my fingers. Sorry if there was like too much on at the start. You know I love my lip gloss and it was plumping, so I'm like
chance to do business with Mr. Beast or be a part
She has great hair, doesn't she?
collabs. As someone who has done 3 of these Beast collabs and had him try to do business with me twice off of YouTube, let me tell you, it's a complete waste of time. But hey, I'm not going to go into that right now. I would just like to remind them, the other big YouTubers in this community, that dozens of people were injured and thousands of people were denied their basic human rights, all for a Mr. Beast YouTube video. It's giving David Dobrik 2.0. And the sequel...
That's what I said! Rosanna, are you watching these videos? Hey girl!
They're always worse. There's still no update from TikTok on why my first video about the Beast games is blocked in every country except for the US. Also, thousands of comments are being deleted daily on Mr. Beast's newest video.
Mr. Beast has been deleting all the comments that speak on the situation about him being a fraud. It doesn't
I love the AI voice.
your comment, they will all be
I
deleted.
wish it would read me bedtime stories.
Blocking threads on the topic. This includes his own subreddit that's ran by his staff. Even Twitter deleted a community post about Mr. Beast. So overall, it looks like there is a pretty concerted effort to hide this story, which pretty much explains why I'm making the video today. A lot of you had asked for verification of the other stories I was making videos about, which I totally get, and I wanted to read one of the articles that came out this week. This one is from the New York Times. They vetted about a dozen Beast Games contestants and listened to their stories. Many other news outlets have also interviewed and vetted other contestants and crew as well. So I hope that gives you some assurance that these stories are real. All right, so
I think this is a big thing as well because a lot of people were saying, you know, Rosanna was making these TikToks where she was reading out these emails she was getting from contestants, and a lot of people were saying that, you know, there was no way for her to like validate or confirm the stories without, you know, kind of doxing the people. So a lot of people were jumping to that Rosanna was lying or how can we trust you or whatever, because obviously she can't validate the stories like a journalist has, which I think is, I'm not saying an article is more important than anyone's voice, Rosanna or anybody, but I think the good thing about the article was being able to like factually confirm that these were, you know, actual people involved, even though Rosanna said she had already done that. I'm just saying, like, from a legal standpoint, everyone else talking about it, we can now confirm that these people were involved in it. You know what I mean? Rather than just like hearing Rosanna say it. That's not taking away from what Rosanna said or the legitimacy of Rosanna speaking up, but I'm just saying having a journalist confirm it behind the scenes and then publicly confirm it kind of stops all of us from getting sued. You know what I mean? From telling stories that maybe wouldn't have been true.
let's read through. Send thoughts and prayers. I'm dyslexic. This is going to be something. The title of the article is Willing to Die for Mr. Beast and 5 million. I'm going to read about half of it because it would probably take me a couple hours to read this whole article because I'm such a slow reader. During the intake process this year, several contestants told the New York Times that they have been asked whether they would be willing to be buried alive or travel to outer space. One contestant recalled being asked,
Travel to outer space is crazy.
or if thrown overboard from a boat. I understand that such activities may cause me death, illness, or serious bodily injury, including but not limited to exhaustion, dehydration, overexertion, burns, and heat stroke. Read a line in the contract reviewed by the Times that applicants were required to sign. Such language is commonplace in reality television contracts.
Now, we said this in the video yesterday, but it is very common for reality TV shows to kind of have these contracts in place that, like, you're willing to, you know, get injured, but that's literally like last case scenario, like covering their ass if the worst case scenario happened, like the unimaginable. But it seems that in Mr. Beast's case, it's like you're signing that and it's like confirmed, like going to happen either way. You know what I mean?
What they did not expect, however, were the more mundane yet potentially dangerous inconveniences that they said had befallen them during the competition. Speaking with the New York Times on the condition of being anonymous due to non-disclosure agreements, over a dozen people who participated in the first installment of Beast Games said that they had not received adequate food or medical care and that some competitors had suffered injuries from the physical challenges. The event was being filmed for Mr. Donald's Olsen's YouTube channel to select contestants to participate in the Amazon MGM show later this summer. Some of the contestants left the competition arena on stretchers. A contestant said, though it was unclear if any of those contestants had faced serious...
What does she have on the top of her phone? What is that? Hold on, I'm putting this in full screen so I can see this. I don't know what that is. Is it like a light or something? I don't know.
Serious medical conditions. Another described watching fellow contestants vomiting and appearing to pass out. There were several hospitalizations. So I'm going to stop right here to give a little bit of context. The local hospital that took patients from the Beast Games described it as a pretty chaotic scene. I've also talked to at least 100 contestants. Some of the injuries described to me, I would definitely describe as serious. Okay, back to the article. In a text message, a spokesperson for Mr. Beast said that the shoot was unfortunately complicated by the CrowdStrike incident, extreme weather, and other unexpected logistical and communication issues.
Which again just sounds like bullshit and trying to blame anything but yourself for being reckless, unprepared. And again, I just cannot fathom how this show is going to be aired. Like, they are still actively filming this show and everything has been exposed. Like, there is going to be, at a bare minimum, such a shadow over the show now when it gets released. And it's like, who allowed this to happen at Amazon? Because this is an Amazon show. Yes, Mr. Beast, it's his show, but it's with Amazon. So it's like, did Amazon just like completely turn a blind eye and let Mr. Beast do everything? Like, do they have zero involvement in this? Because like, I'm sure a big company like that wouldn't want a lawsuit. Maybe Mr. Beast does, but I'm sure a company like Amazon really vets their shit. So it's like, did they fully just hand over everything to Mr. Beast? But then if they did that as well, it's like, why would they do that? Or maybe it's just like this, you know, Mr. Beast has such a facade online of being such a businessman and such a filmmaker. And we see this with these YouTubers all the time where, you know, I guess these companies are, you know, giving them too much control. And then who in the long run is going to get the brunt of this? I mean, Amazon could get sued to the ground for all this. Mr. Beast could get sued, but I mean, it would be both of them. It's both their shows. But like, why does this show have a budget of, how much was it? Like $100 million? And there's this many issues. Like, it just does not make any practical sense. Like, how bad does everyone need to be involved at their job for everything to fall through the cracks? Like, there's contestants on the line. Yeah, there's 2,000 contestants. It's so easy to say 2,000 contestants. That's 2,000 people. Like, imagine 2,000 people you're in charge of, and you're doing such a terrible job at it. They're having seizures, allegedly. They're fucking being hospitalized, allegedly. Like, they aren't being fed, allegedly. They're like, what is going on?
The spokesperson said Mr. Beast had started a formal review and had taken steps to ensure that we learn from this experience. Okay, we're going to take a quick break again. So, Mr. Beast's PR team is blaming everyone but themselves. I don't understand how CrowdStrike prevents people from getting their medication. I don't understand how CrowdStrike prevents women from getting feminine products that they need. I don't understand how CrowdStrike gives low-quality food with no protein to contestants doing physical challenges. They were giving out cold oatmeal. Yeah, great, wonderful. I don't understand how CrowdStrike caused people to be nearly trampled. I just don't understand how CrowdStrike caused fully grown men to tackle women. And severe weather, spoiler alert, it's Vegas, it's hot. How is that?
That's what I said as well, and I know so many people were commenting on this. Like, I said that I had just been to Vegas for the first time, and I literally refused to leave my hotel room because it was too hot. The only time I could leave was 2:30 in the morning, and then it was still unbreathable. To do these shows in a climate that is so unbearable like Vegas, and you're not being allegedly fed or given water at the magnitude you should be for anywhere, but specifically Vegas, is insane. And then furthermore, we were told that they were allegedly having to sleep during the day in the stadium because they wanted to film at nighttime. Oh, no. Sleeping during the day in Vegas in a like open air stadium, or open, even if it was closed stadium, like, it's too hot in Vegas. This just seems like such a nightmare all around.
Excuse. And unexpected logistical issues. That's literally the entire point of hiring an experienced crew. Remember when I said Mr. Beast's team intentionally wanted to hire non-union? And Mr. Beast has started a formal review. So what, this is the second time in 2 weeks that Mr. Beast is investigating Mr. Beast? I'm gonna investigate myself. After I investigated myself, I have found that I myself have done no wrongdoings after this totally legitimate investigation that I have done myself on myself. Trust
That's such a fair point she's making. Like, Mr. Beast is being, you know, he's being looked into by who? Well, Mr. Beast. Okay. He's just like calling himself and leaving a voice memo. Hey, is everything going okay? And then he leaves a voice memo back. Hey, yeah, it's okay. Perfect. The investigation ended.
me, bro. The company that will be investigating me is Mr. Beast's investigation. All right, let's go back to the article. Some former employees have spoken out about safety concerns on Mr. Beast's sets, but his vast fan base has continued to see him as fundamentally charitable and well-meaning. Amid allegations about Beast games, as well as recent accusations about inappropriate language used by Mr. Donaldson and a former collaborator, his reputation, as well as his multi-million-dollar YouTube empire are on the line. We signed up for the show, but we didn't sign up for not being fed or watered or treated like human beings, one contestant told The Times. Before they arrived at the stadium on July 18th, the contestants had to turn in their phones and belongings, including medications. The group ranged in age from members of Gen Z to a competitor who said he was 82, a contestant said. Right from the start, things seemed off. Some contestants said they had originally been told that the competition would have 1,000 participants. This was also
Someone commented on my video defending Mr. Beast, which I don't know why you stumbled across this video. But they were like, they obviously have to hand in their medication because people could be taking like illegal steroids so that they're getting better at the physical tasks. And I'm like, okay, well, this is why they would put a plan in place to vet the medications beforehand so that maybe they could get tested on arrival, or maybe they're tested in advance or something. Like, there are ways around all of the problems here. They were allegedly choosing the cheap option, or sometimes just not choosing an option at all, which is leaving people without things, allegedly. And it's just like, everything's avoidable. And the one thing that annoys me about these creators like Mr. Beast and David Dobrik is there is always going to be a dumb ass cult following that will defend them in any way. And I'm like, isn't it so much easier for you just not to defend them and things like this, where like they're clearly in the wrong? Like, what age are you? What age? Show me your passport. Like, are you above the age of 16? Probably not. There's no way grown adults are defending these kind of people. And it's under the guise of like, under the guise of, oh bro, that's my bro. Mr. Beast, good boy. David Dobrik, good man. Like, fuck off. Like,
the figure advertised by Prime Video earlier this year, but upon arrival, contestants received a video message from Mr. Donaldson, reviewed by The Times, informing them that the number of contestants was higher. Obviously, there's 2,000 contestants, Mr. Donaldson said in a video. I don't remember if I said that publicly or not, but there is. A spokesperson for Mr. Beast said the intention had always been to have 2,000 competitors during that phase. There's that spokesperson again, that PR team, they're just working overtime. I talked to a bunch of contestants. The contestants that I talked to, many of them were not told that it was going to be 2,000 participants. They were told it.
And basically the big issue with that, if you're not aware, I'm sure you all are, is people entered this competition thinking they were up against 999 other people, but it was ultimately 1,999 people that they were up against, which obviously dwindles their chance of winning. Therefore, they're being put through the ringer in all these competitions. I mean, just like fucking, I don't even know how to describe what they're being put through. And they have less of a chance of winning in the end. And maybe 1,000 of those people wouldn't have signed up if they thought they were against another, 1,999 people. It changes everything.
They were upset by this. They were also upset because they felt they were misled because they thought they were going to be on the Amazon Prime show, not on a YouTube video. Like many of the people who appear in Mr. Beast's YouTube videos, some of the contestants said that they needed the cash to pay for things like student loans and medical debt, which is the #1 debt in the United States.
Isn't there also something really sad about the fact that people are willing to sign a contract saying, I'm willing to die for Mr. Beast because they need to pay off student debt or medical debt? Meanwhile, Mr. Beast is so charitable though, right guys? Because he's giving away all this money. Mr. Beast, who could be using his wealth for good. And by the way, good is not making people literally fight to death for money. That is not good. That's not spreading your wealth in any way. We have people that are literally signing a contract saying they're willing to die because they're so desperate to pay off their debt. And who's exploiting that? Mr. Beast.
This is a part that seems small, but it really bothers me because it's obvious that they're just trying to film people's reactions of like, what? But you're really messing with people's lives and people who may really need money. A lot of the contestants that I talked to, they signed up for the show not because it sounded super, super fun, but because they really needed the money and they wanted a chance to compete for that money to really change their lives. And so to dangle a really high price carrot, $5 million.
I also want to ask as well, I don't know any of this, but if someone was to win $5 million on this show, does that get taxed? Or like what happens there? Like do they lose money in taxes and stuff like that? Like if someone knows about that with like reality shows, please let me know.
In front of people's faces who need the finances and then do this to them, it just seems cheap. I'm getting older. I'm just fed up with the BS. Several contestants also said that they had not been warned about how little they would be given to eat and how infrequently. They described going on long stretches without being fed by the production. One said she had gone over 20 hours, both during the games and while they were in Las Vegas before and after filming. Contestants said they had expected the production to provide them with meals for the duration of their time in Nevada. One meal described by several contestants included a teeny portion of cold oatmeal, one hard-boiled egg, and a few pieces of raw vegetables. Meals throughout the games were small and sporadic, contestants said. It was difficult to keep track of time without watches or phones, but the contestants estimated that they had been fed twice a day, once early in...
Like how is a show with a budget of $100 million being this cheap? I want to see a breakdown on where that $100 million is going in production. Can we throw out a guess of maybe Mr. Beast's pocket? Oh, but he's so charitable for giving away $5 million, right? Yeah. Oh, but you're willing to die for it, right?
In the morning and again in the afternoon or evening. A spokesperson for Mr. Beast said that contestants have been offered 3 meals a day. Here's that spokesperson again. One of the most common things amongst all of the contestants that I talked to was just how dire the food situation was. On a few occasions, the production staff passed around small Feastables chocolate bars, a brand created by Mr. Donaldson, and filmed some people eating and praising the candy, contestants said. Nothing better than a cheap chocolate bar on an empty stomach. Pretty much everyone I talked to said that they were starving, and I cannot believe that they use this as a cheap way to promote their candy bars, like advertiser.
Literally giving starving people here doing all these competitions a chocolate bar and being like, you want it? Will you praise it on video? Say it's yummy. Say it's yummy. Say it's the best chocolate bar you've ever had.
Candy bars on the show. People with food allergies and dietary restrictions said that they had experienced even more trouble. Before the competition, contestants filled out forms detailing their dietary needs. An FAQ document provided to contestants in advance of the event and reviewed by the Times said that all dietary and food restrictions would be taken into consideration.
Taken into consideration is crazy.
They knew about the dietary restrictions and they weren't able to meet them, or they casted people.
How are you not able to meet them if you have a budget of $100 million?
Dietary restrictions, knowing that they wouldn't be able to feed them correctly. Either way you cut it, it's not good. You can't feed people? Jimmy, don't you run food banks? An FAQ document that says taken into consideration. Yeah, it seems like they considered it. They were like, I'm gonna consider not doing anything for the people. But several contestants said that they had been served food that they were allergic to and that alternatives had not been provided. Quote, they took on this challenge of 2,000 competitors. They should have known they needed an enormous crew to handle this correctly. Hungry, bruised, and bleeding. Mr. Donaldson presided over the field as the first scenes of the competition were filmed in the stadium. Contestants described how he had stepped out of the shrine-like structure and onto a platform above $5 million in cash as they were instructed to cheer. Quote, we're all just looking up.
Instructed to cheer is crazy.
One contestant said. Guards dressed entirely in black, complete with face coverings, flanked the field. A psychologist also introduced himself to the competitors at the outset, explaining that health and safety were priorities on set. Several participants recalled. Reached by phone by the Times after the games, that psychologist declined to comment on the event.
Were we supposed to not say the psychologist's name? Because I'm pretty sure I did. It was in the article. Oh. Maybe Rosanna's just more PR trained. Oh, she's a socialite, YouTube socialite, and she's been in the industry if you forgot.
What world is one psychologist enough for 2,000 people? When
True, I didn't even consider that. True.
Show years ago, this is over a decade ago, there was 10 women and we had one psychologist. Just so you guys can kind of compare, several contestants said that when they had sought out production staff members for assistance with medical care, food, and hygiene issues, the staff members were often not helpful and appeared disorganized. Some staff members yelled and cursed at contestants, one participant said. Sorry if you guys hear snoring. My dog just fell asleep and I don't have the heart to wake her up. They just look so cute when they're taking those little puppy naps. She's this one. She's right here. Boop, boop. This is our little booty. Back to it. Despite reassurance that contestants' medications would be distributed to them when needed, several contestants said that they had not received their medication on time, including one contestant who needed insulin, instead receiving it hours or even days after their scheduled dosing times. This is so dangerous to a diabetic. This is awful. One contestant said that she had initially been denied food that she required to take with her medication and had been told by staff members that she didn't actually need to eat. After asking...
Okay, I hope that in all this time that people are allegedly, not being fed and stuff like this, I hope Mr. Beast was out the back starving too. And I'm talking not even a bite of that shitty chocolate bar. Like, it's just ironic to think about everyone involved in this who's a higher up was probably eating so well, probably so hydrated, looked after so well, the nicest hotel. Meanwhile, these people are allegedly starving and sleeping on a stadium floor in the sunlight of fucking Vegas. It's disgusting. Oh, but he's so charitable and he's the best person ever, isn't he?
Repeatedly, she was given half a banana. Something else that really bothers me is people online are saying, well, it's a competition. It's supposed to be hard. And I'm like, why is Mr. Beast production casting people who need specific medication and specific food and then not giving it to them? That has nothing to do with the competition games themselves. Nothing.
Very true, very true.
Basic human needs. Contestants were instructed to supply the production staff with a Ziploc bag containing 5 days worth of undergarments, which would be distributed to the contestants once the games were underway. But
again, I just don't understand this at all. Literally having to give your underwear away in advance. If there's so little staff to look after that amount of people, just let the people keep their stuff. Like, what do you mean you're having to hand over your underwear and then not get it, allegedly? What?
Several contestants said that they had waited hours or even days to receive their clean underwear. I'm gonna stop here again. Why the is Mr. Beast production team taking contestants' underwear? I get not having a cell phone or something you can cheat with, but underwear? There is one contestant that I'm talking with right now who has never gotten her underwear back. One woman said that when she and a group of contestants who were menstruating during the event had asked the production staff about getting their underwear more quickly, she had been told that it was not a medical emergency. And she recalled that a nearby member of the production staff had laughed at the woman's pleading.
And I would assume it was a man.
Could you imagine these people treating your sister that way? Your mom that way? And yes, it is a medical emergency. It's called toxic shock syndrome. People can die from it. Can we please make Markiplier the #1 YouTuber already? I'm like so sick of this. Ick, ick, ick. Contestants felt that the staff was overwhelmed by the volume of competitors. In addition...
And that's not the competitor's fault. That's the staff's fault. She had written something down here. I want to read it. Hey everyone, sorry this video took so long for me to post. I've never made something like this, so I did my best. Please know the majority of the stories in this article were confirmed to me by over 100 contestants in private. I wanted to share this because many journalists have also confirmed. I'm trying to do my best to cover everything I can in regards. I think more will be coming out soon. Thank you all.
To these behind-the-scenes issues, things did not appear to run much more smoothly when it came to the competition itself. The first challenge involved 5 teams of 400 pulling ropes attached to a 10,000...
It's just so crazy.
...as fast as possible. The issue began, participants said, when they were broken into those teams. A scramble for team pennies, which I think means jerseys, quickly became chaotic and frightening, several said, describing a crush of people pushing and shoving other contestants while the production staff was unable to calm the crowd. One contestant described hyperventilating amid the scene. Another said she had been almost horizontal and had feared being trampled. How this was described to me from contestants was basically, it was a free-for-all mosh pit just to grab...
Oh, I think that thing on top of her phone was a microphone.
These jerseys. Why didn't production just pick the teams and hand out the jerseys? Some male contestants...
That's such a good point as well from Rosanna, which is like, why hadn't the teams been picked in advance? Rather than the quickest, the strongest, them being able to battle it out, and it's like 400 strong men, and then 400 not strong man. Like, it's unfair. It's an unfair advantage if the competitions are literally pulling weights.
Refused to pass pennies to female contestants.
Or even just on age. You know what I mean? A bunch of 80-year-olds versus a bunch of like 20 to 30-year-olds.
That one of the teams was predominantly women, contestants said. Several people interviewed for this.
Like, from the audience point of view, this show isn't going to be enjoyable to watch, number one, because it's going to be so unfair. So it's going to be like, oh, we already know who's going to win. Like, even on a baseline, if you don't care about human fucking needs, it's going to be boring to watch because you're going to be like, oh, it's predictable who's going to win. So from every angle, who's going to enjoy the show?
Chance at winning the prize money given the way the teams were formed. One contestant said she left the stadium bruised and bleeding after being injured and eliminated in the first challenge. She was handed $1,000 in a stack of dollar bills as a consolation prize, but said she had to hand the money back to the producers after the cameras were off.
That's the craziest thing. And yesterday I went crazy at this. What do you mean? After being bruised and bleeding, leaving, they give you $1,000 on camera, and then you have to give it back because your actual money's not ready yet. Fuck you!
Competitors were told that they would receive real payments later, she said, but as of publication time, she has not yet been paid. One contestant, a self-professed longtime fan of Mr. Donaldson's, who is still in the game, said she was nervous about her safety, but planned to continue. That just really paints a picture of what's going on. A contestant who doesn't feel safe, but she needs the money so much, so she's going to try to stay. Oh, it's that spokesperson again for Mr. Beast. Quote, "We are grateful that virtually all of those invited to Toronto
Virtually all
have enthusiastically accepted our invitation," the Mr. Beast spokesperson wrote. So to end this video, I just wanted to read through this article and give you a good idea of some of the things going on in Beast Games. Nearly every part of this story was confirmed to me by multiple contestants in private. I personally do not believe that the production is fully prepared to keep people safe while competing on Beast Games. It has been told to me that future challenges potentially include swimming in the ocean to an island, being buried alive, and God knows what else. I'll keep you guys updated. Bye.
Oh my god. Again, it's like... It's like the David Dobrik thing all over with like him doing these like crazy challenges and crazy pranks. It's like, what needs to happen for something to happen? That's a scary thought. Like, if the competitions were so bad and so dangerous already in the first round, for the final round, up until getting the money, it's going to be shock value challenges for the audience, but that comes at people's lives being in risk. It's fucking disgusting. It is fucking disgusting. I don't even know what happens now with like filming. Like, this show's being filmed right now. Are people talking about this? Are people talking about the public outrage? Are the production talking about it? Are they trying to like quickly change the edit? Quickly change, like, what is it's radio silent. Everything's going great. No, it's not. Muckers, let me know your opinion. Go support Rosanna's video. Go give it a comment. Go give it a like. Go watch it. And yeah, I will see you in my next one, and goodbye.